What's up everybody, Mike here. I made some fresh homemade pasta. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Alright, making homemade pasta is super simple. What you are going to need is laid out right here. I have some olive oil and some salt. I have 2 cups of flour with a well in the center. That is holding 2 eggs plus 2 egg yolks. All that I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of salt to season it, about half a teaspoon worth, and then a little bit of olive oil, also about half a teaspoon's worth. And you are going to stir this together, slowly bringing in some of that flour as you are stirring in the eggs with your fork. And over time, you are eventually going to get a cohesive mess of a ball. So I've sped up the video here as I am stirring together my eggs. A little bit of flour is going to come into it as I'm doing that. And as I see any of the sides of my volcano starting to collapse, that's when I'm going to try and reform this little well so that it doesn't get super messy. Once that mixture is no longer taking in any new flour, that's when I'm going to switch to just kneading it by hand and knead it until everything comes together. Make sure to keep a little bit of water on hand in case you need to continuously hydrate your dough. But once you get your dough ball together, you want to make sure that the gluten has developed by poking it. All right, my dough is done and ready to rest. I know that it is done because when I poke it, it starts to bounce back just a little bit, which is what I'm looking for. I'm going to wrap this ball in saran wrap, and it is going to sit on my counter for about 30 minutes while it continues to hydrate and the gluten rests. Then I'm going to roll it out and I'm going to cook it in just a little bit. So my dough is rested. All that I want to do right now is I want to briefly roll this out. So I'm going to take a little bit more flour here. And I want to roll this out so that it doesn't stick and I can cut it before running it through my pasta machine. And I'm going to show you that step next. My stand mixer has my pasta machine on it right now. I have 2 pieces of my pasta. I'm going to go ahead and take my pasta roller down to the widest setting, and I'm going to start running this through my pasta machine. I'm going to run it through each level 3 times, and the first 2 times, the first 2 levels, I actually want to laminate my dough to give it some extra structure. And so I'm just going to fold it over itself 3 times like a letter, and then run it through each of those first 2 levels. So I went through that first level on 0, now on 1. I'm going to fold my pasta just like a letter, and this will give me that last lamination that I want for my pasta dough. Now I'm just going to run this through this a total of 3 times. And now I'm going to take it down to the next lowest setting. I'm going to take this all the way down to its thinnest setting, and then I'm going to show you the cutting process next. Alright, I have run my pasta through my sheet all the way down to the 8th setting. So at this point, if you wanted to make ravioli, some type of stuffed pasta, you can keep it in this sheet form and then just fill it, form it, and ready to go. But I'm going to go ahead and make myself some spaghetti noodles here. So I just want to run it through my spaghetti setting. Now be careful because it will pinch if you are not careful. And I don't mind about long nudes, so I am just going to let the entire sheet pull through. And then so that it doesn't clump, I'm just going to very quickly toss it in some flour that I have waiting over here. And I'm going to take my noodles and just let them rest while I am making my second sheet. Because of how fast my fresh pasta cooks, I have already seared off the mushrooms that are going to go on top of my pasta. And now, in the smoking hot pan, I just want to get some butter melting. With that melting, I am now going to take my fresh pasta that has just been sitting for a few minutes and dump it into the already salted and boiling water that I have right next to it. I want to make sure to stir that pasta when it goes into the water so that it doesn't clump in there. And that's only going to take a minute. My butter is already browning, which is great because that's going to give me a lot of flavor. Now that my pasta is floating in the water, it means that it is done. So I'm going to fish it out of my water here and put it right into this hot brown butter. I have turned the heat off on my pasta so that it doesn't scorch. A little bit of the pasta is going to stick to my pan here, and that's perfectly fine. But this is done. The only thing that I want to do now is get a little bit of lemon squeezed on top of it for some fresh acid. And then I have some freshly chopped chives here that I'm also going to stir in. And that is how you make my fresh pasta. It's super simple. I really hope you make it. But for right now, I'm gonna tear into this off screen and you're just gonna have to let me know your thoughts later on.